with Lauren Stallone.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. A month after House of Hope announced its pending closure, questions still remain about why the provincial government and City Hall haven't stepped up with funding. This would keep 48 supportive housing units open for homeless Londoners. CTV's Daryl Newcomb investigates.
Back in May, London Cares announced the House of Hope must close, eliminating 48 supportive housing units for homeless Londoners because $1.37 million in provincial funding expired. Now, local MPP and Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing Rob Flack tells CTV News that Ontario's homelessness prevention program funds 47 municipal service providers, including the City of London, and it's up to those municipalities to prioritize how the dollars are distributed.
House of Hope is a very important project, doing very important work. We've provided the money for them to prioritize that. So I would say, respectfully, maybe ask Kevin Dickens or the Mayor of London why it isn't a priority, or what they did do some funding, fair enough, but why can't they fund more? We don't set those priorities, the local community does.
So at City Hall, we asked why an additional $1.37 million wasn't reprioritized to save House of Hope, which would be on top of the $2.7 million already provided by the city over 2 years.
That money that the province gives us, which we are very thankful for, is fully allocated. To put more money into House of Hope beyond what we already are, we'd have to defund something else.
We have needs that far outpace that resourcing. That's why you see this municipal council make incredible efforts to invest municipal dollars.
We provided London, after 2023, a 63% increase in that funding, $21.8 million a year, plus another for 3 years, plus $21.8 this year.
It's important, needed money, we appreciate it, but it's not going up despite the fact that the challenges remain and the costs of doing this work increases year to year.
That interview with the mayor took place immediately following this week's council meeting, a meeting where council also received an update on the $1.8 billion City Hall currently has in its financial investment portfolio. So I asked, couldn't some of that money have helped save House of Hope?
We build up reserve funds because we know we have to refurbish a community center. We know we have to pay retirement benefits. We know what our obligations are, and we responsibly put that money aside.
The mayor emphasizes House of Hope originally opened with provincial funding from the Ministry of Health, not the homelessness prevention program.
The healthcare system, through LHSC, decided to fund a portion of it outside of the regular funding envelope, outside of HPP. That money goes away. It does not mean we have more money in HPP automatically to prioritize this.
What I would say as the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, whether it's development charges, whether it's supportive housing dollars, sitting in the bank isn't the best place for it to be. Let's get it with shovels in the ground like projects today.
We continue to work with Ontario Health behind the scenes on trying to align a business case that matches what the provincial priority is around a healthcare-based model for supportive housing.
House of Hope is still scheduled to close by the end of November. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Those convicted of stealing copper from essential infrastructure could get zapped with stiffer penalties. The federal justice minister visited London Hydro today to explain how a new crime bill could target copper thefts. CTV's Brian Bicknell explains.
How somebody didn't die that morning, I'll never be sure. They actually cut into live 27,000 volt conductor. There was a fire and an explosion.
London Hydro CEO Uzni Semzadini is referring to this event. In September of last year, an attempt to steal copper hydro line beneath an Adelaide Street bridge knocked out power to 5,000 customers.
It took us 8 or 9 months to reroute power in that area. We had to go from underground to overhead because the bridge was unusable. We spent over $1.1 million last year in correcting the damage caused.
Semzadini was on hand as Federal Justice Minister Sean Fraser visited the London utility. Fraser announced changes to the Criminal Justice Act that could give a jolt to copper thieves, targeting crimes against essential infrastructure. He says Bill C-14, the Bail and Sentencing Reform Act, would not consider the theft on its own, but the damage it causes.
To those who are considering taking part in copper theft or damaging our essential infrastructure, is if you damage our transit networks, putting the economic well-being and the safety of your community at risk, if you do damage to our electricity grids and don't allow our communities to have access to the power that they need, or if you take down our telecommunication networks, you should expect a stiffer sentence.
It disrupts people in their homes, it disrupts healthcare, traffic signalization, everything that power supplies. You know, this is something that should have elevated status.
While the new laws aim to deter would-be copper thieves, the other challenge is enforcement. London Hydro is hoping its new alert system will help police get to the scene of the crime much quicker. The new tech can detect the tilt of a manhole cover.
Our goal, though, as always, is to get automation out where we can to protect the system as much as we can.
This conversation is going to engage not only questions of costs for cities and provinces that are going to have to ensure that they have the boots on the ground. It's also going to require that we look at what resources in terms of the tools that law enforcement has access to.
The new law comes into force July 15th. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
For the second full day, the London man accused of beating his girlfriend to death faced tough cross-examination from the Crown. With more from the courthouse in St. Thomas, here's Nick Pepperella.
53-year-old David Yates has always maintained that he was the one being attacked on the night his 22-year-old girlfriend, Caitlin Jennings, died on July 3rd of 2023. However, Crown Attorney James Spangenberg took exception to that and continued to grill Yates about circumstances surrounding the vicious fight they had at this home at 562 Kingsway Avenue in West London. The Crown asked him why he was the one holding a hammer when things got physical in the bathroom. Yates admitted, "I swung. I must have hit her on the top of her head." She started laughing. Yates was asked about Caitlin bleeding, and he said, "I went and got a paper towel and put it on her head." Spangenberg asked, "Was her jaw broken at this time?" And Yates responded, "It may have been." The Crown then asked, "You gave her a number of blows to the back." And Yates said, "It's not something that I counted." Yates told the court he was exhausted during the fight, and the Crown asked why he didn't call 911 to get medical attention for Caitlin. "You must have thought your 30 to 40 blows with the hammer must have hurt her." And Yates replied, "No, not in the least. It wouldn't have fazed her." He went on, "I didn't think those injuries in any way were life-threatening." Spangenberg suggested Yates was angry about Caitlin's infidelity and asked, "Do you agree that you went too far and hit her too many times?" He responded, "Not once did I think it was a situation that I'd be sitting here talking to you." Then the court was shown photos comparing Caitlin's badly beaten body to his head, back, and legs. The Crown asked, "You escaped this fight unscathed. You broke her bones." Yates said, "That's clear to me now, but I didn't know that then." When Caitlin became lethargic, the Crown asked, "You moved her around and you didn't see that?" Yates said, "I didn't see those. I didn't see injuries like that." A pathologist has testified that Caitlin died from multiple blunt force trauma injuries after suffering more than 200 wounds. 2 days after the fatal fight, Yates would call 911. London police would arrive to the home to find Caitlin's body on the living room floor. Yates would be arrested and has pled not guilty to second-degree murder. At one point while testifying, Yates breaks down and starts to sob when he's asked about seeing Caitlin's lifeless body on the floor. Later in the day, the Crown showed Yates entries from his journal made hours after Caitlin died. It read, "I just killed my friend. I am the biggest piece of on this planet." The trial has now been adjourned until July 16th. That's when the Crown and the defense are expected to give their closing arguments. In St. Thomas, Nick Paparella, CTV News.
One person has suffered life-threatening injuries after a serious crash north of London. OPP say the single vehicle left Cobble Hills Road just before 6:30 this morning and hit a hydro pole. The driver was rushed to hospital where they remain. The road was closed for most of the day for the investigation. Meanwhile, the province's Special Investigations Unit is looking to speak with 3 drivers who may have witnessed a serious crash in Simcoe. An OPP cruiser and an SUV collided on Norfolk Street North on April 15th. That left a 77-year-old woman seriously hurt. The SIU is asking the occupants of these 3 vehicles seen on dashcam video to contact them. A major hurdle has been passed in a unique affordable housing model taking shape in Listowel. Scott Miller reports.
In 8 to 12 months, the first affordable housing project undertaken by United Housing should be ready for tenants in downtown Listowel.
So any day now we'll go out. It'll be going out to tender for the rest of the work.
To deal with a growing housing crisis in Huron-Perth, the local United Way bought a historic building in Listowel nearly 2 years ago, with plans to construct a social agency center on the main floor and 10 apartments, 2/3 of them below or well below market rent, on the second floor. With the price tag of roughly $3 million, United Housing needed to raise about $735,000 through a community bond campaign, which reached its goal earlier this year, and about $700,000 through a separate capital campaign that reached its target a full year ahead of schedule.
This community, they came out, and they came out quickly, and they came out hard. And so we are now able to move ahead with phase 2 of this project, which is to complete the 10 units upstairs.
North Perth Councillor Doug Johnston put the capital campaign over the top with his family's recent $3,000 donation.
They don't have to worry about mold and safety and all that kind of stuff. And right downtown where they're close to everything. So to me, it was a no-brainer.
The Music Hall Apartments, as they're known, are just the first step in a much larger plan by United Housing to bring up to 40 more affordable housing units to Listowel, with an ambitious project including a permanent social services hub and library.
We believe that we can make use of public lands and have partnerships with both the public and private and not-for-profit sectors.
Affordable housing models like the ones coming from United Housing, with projects currently under development in Listowel, Stratford and Exeter, are incredibly important, says the mayor.
We're crafting a new model around housing where not-for-profits can make a difference.
United Housing aims to have 100 affordable housing units under their management by 2030.
We have lots going on, but this building here anchors us as the first thing that we took on.
Listowel's Music Hall Apartments should be ready for tenants in early 2027. In Listowel, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Coming up, Canada loses 2-1 in the top spot in Group B of the FIFA World Cup to Switzerland. Losses in energy and base metal stocks dragged down Canada's main stock index today. In Toronto, the TSX lost 191, while in New York, the Dow gained 182, but the Nasdaq fell 110. The Canadian dollar is down 0.17 of a cent today, and on commodity markets, gold lost more than $140 an ounce, and oil fell $2.87 a barrel. Canada's trade mission to Japan is continuing to match investors with resources and workforces. As Judy Trin reports, the pressure to diversify trade is rising.
Like a motorcade conductor easing a row of cars into Tokyo traffic, International Trade Minister Menindo Saidu is trying to guide Canadian businesses into partnerships with Japanese companies.
My goal is to be the bridge between the businesses and the government.
The rush into Japan is being mapped out in a Team Canada trade mission for 175 companies from sectors like defense, AI, agriculture, and clean tech. Over 5 days, 300 delegates are matched with potential Asian investors. They get advice from trailblazers like OpenText. Headquartered in Waterloo, Ontario, its information management technology is used by 2,500 Japanese companies.
The important thing about this market is that you need to build trust, long-term relationships. Coming here with a transactional mindset is a losing strategy.
Japan's population is aging, but it has lots of technical expertise. What it needs are young workers and natural resources. That's why Alberta's Deep Sky, which removes carbon from the air and stores it underground, has found a Japanese bank to support its expansion.
They do not necessarily have some of the things that Canada does, which is abundant geology for geological storage of carbon, abundant land to build facilities to be able to do this.
Deep Sky isn't the only one that found a match. The trade minister says more than a dozen companies signed investment deals.
We're going to be probably announcing close to $250 million of commercial deals on this trip alone, which is over a dozen commercial deals.
The Carney government wants to double its non-U.S. exports in the next decade to bring about an additional $300 billion in global trade. It's a goal that's gaining urgency with the Kuzma review set to start in less than a week. Judy Trin, CTV News, Tokyo.
Hundreds of people came together this afternoon for the funeral service of a Toronto police officer who was shot and killed in the line of duty earlier this month. Among those offering emotional tributes today, the fallen officer's mother and children were also in attendance. CTV's Beth McDonnell has more.
Constable Mark Pinizzotto's funeral was a ceremony full of tributes, not for how he died, but for how he lived.
But above all, you were my best friend. Never in a million years did I think you'd pass away so soon, but I miss you so much. Even though you're not here physically, the impact that you had on my life is always here, and the legacy that you left behind lives forever. I look up to him and will continue to because he showed me how to be a funny but serious person. And that is what I love most about him. And he put in the effort every day to teach me new things, to make me a better person.
On June 11th, the 43-year-old member of Toronto Police's elite emergency task force was shot and killed during a raid tied to the U.S. consulate shooting. The son, husband, father, and brother is greatly missed.
He was our brother, and he loved hockey. Like so many Canadian kids, he grew up at the rink. Hockey wasn't just a game to him. It was a part of who he was. It taught him it taught him discipline, teamwork, resilience, and loyalty. And those qualities stayed with him through his entire life.
You were more than a member of the ETF. You were more than a hockey player. You are our brother. You are our best friend. And you are our hero.
Prior to the service, a procession made its way from the funeral home in Thornhill to the Toronto Congress Centre in Etobicoke, where thousands gathered for Pinizzotto's final farewell, including Mayor Olivia Chow, Premier Doug Ford, and U.S. Ambassador to Canada Pete Hoekstra. An officer who worked with the force for 18 years, Pinizzotto was remembered time and again for his humor, loyalty, and leadership.
As a training constable, Mark helped train thousands of Toronto police officers. He made our service better.
He was professional, competent, courageous, and had an unwavering commitment to his teammates.
Mark understood the right course in life is not the me, myself, and I world. He truly embraced the importance of putting others before himself, being ready at a moment's notice.
Pinizzotto's death marks the first time in the ETF's 64-year history a member has been killed on the job. A job his family says was a calling, as he was always ready to step up and serve. Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
Good evening. Mild temperatures overnight with a chance of showers. The risk for rainfall will linger into your Thursday as a low pressure system moves in. Christopher, thank you so much for sending this photo in of Carl. This is a cute one. If you are heading out with Carl tomorrow, expect a few showers to pop up. There's the risk for late day thunderstorms as well. Muggy conditions return to the area, so increasing humidity through the day. Coming up, I'll have all your local weather details. We'll look ahead to Canada Day and, of course, a summer weekend on the way. All of that in just a few.
Julie joins me on the desk. Julie, I got out for my morning walk this morning. It was very nice, but we're seeing some showers now.
Yes, we have a little bit of light rain coming in. A low pressure system moving out of the prairies is approaching the area tonight, and scattered showers and thunderstorms expected overnight, Lauren, and into tomorrow. Today, temperature is close to where we should be for this time of year. We did see some clouds start to build in the afternoon. There's the low pressure area and the rain that's rolling into southern Ontario overnight. So northern Huron, Perth, Grey Bruce, you could see some showers, but it looks a bit steadier areas further to the south. So this low pressure will continue to move through. What's happening out there tonight is the warm front is rolling in, and that's why we're seeing the showers. We'll be in the warm sector through the day tomorrow, which leads to instability and the possibility of thunderstorms bubbling up. So this is the overnight model showing some rainfall at about 2 a.m. And then as you wake up tomorrow morning, overcast conditions. You'll notice the humidity tomorrow as well. So Thursday will feel increasingly humid, even though we have a fair amount of cloud cover. We'll have that moisture around. That's the warm sector. The cold front will come across in the late evening, and ahead of the cold front, scattered showers and thunderstorms are expected to develop. So you can see southern Ontario, not everyone's picking up the thunderstorms, but there will be storms in and around the area with the passage of that front. So that's at 6 o'clock, and you can see a few isolated areas expected. Elgin County, you'll see a little bit of storm action towards Chatham-Kent as well. Midwestern Ontario, this looks quite minimal for you, but some areas could get under a heavy downpour, so just be aware heading into the afternoon. The cold front will cross, and then as we head into your Friday, we should start to see some nice sunny breaks and looking good heading into the weekend. We have a bit of cloud cover to contend with over the weekend, but we're not expecting rainfall. Overnight, much milder tonight than it's been over the past few nights. I know I've been mentioning open up your windows. We've had that beautiful breeze out of the north. Tonight, warmer conditions expected with a chance of rainfall. So perhaps maybe closing some of those windows tonight. 13 to 16 degrees in most of the area. Be a bit milder along the shoreline of Lake Erie. Your Thursday forecast highs, vary temperatures. So look, Windsor at 26, Sarnia at 23, and London coming in at 21. As we head further north, 19 to 20, but it will feel warmer than that. So it'll feel like the mid-20s through the day. So showers and thunderstorms as we head into the morning, and then a bit of a lull in the action by the late afternoon into the evening. That probability about a 60% chance at 21 degrees. Over the next 7 days, we'll see mainly cloudy conditions on Friday, but peaks of sunshine, and then heading into Saturday as well. Daytime highs climbing to 25 degrees. Friday could turn out to be a pretty awesome day, so mainly cloudy to a mix of sun and cloud. And then over the weekend, the heat moves in Sunday with a mix in 28, 30 degrees Monday, Tuesday. Now Monday and Tuesday, it's going to start to feel like the mid to upper 30s, even approaching feeling like 40 as we head toward Canada Day. Risk for evening showers on Canada Day, but that's 7 days out, so we won't spend too much time worrying about that right now. Midwestern Ontario, chance of scattered showers overnight, possibility of some thunderstorms heading into tomorrow. Not expecting heavy rainfall in the area, but if we get under a heavy thunderstorm, they can drop a lot of rain in a very short period of time. Mix on Friday, heading into Saturday, cloudy with sunny breaks, 27, and heating up Sunday. It's going to be hot and humid next week with daytime highs approaching 30, and as we head into Canada Day, that should be a 30 as well. Chance for showers as we roll into the holiday, although that probability on the lower end, and the rain should hold off until the evening. All right, well, enjoy your day tomorrow. Scattered showers, just be prepared, but the weekend is shaping up to be a good one. Lauren, back to you.
Thanks, Julie. If you're looking to cool off this summer, you can do so at various swimming pools across the city starting this weekend. This Saturday, all outdoor pools will be open for the season. You can find more information regarding hours and programming on the city's website. All wading pools will also open on Saturday, and splash pads have been operating since May. Temperatures are expected to climb into the 30s next week. Unofficial opening is still a few weeks away, but a $50 million project to create Cascades Casino at Western Fair District is almost complete. The project expanded the former slots facility by 14,000 square feet. Inside are nearly 20 gaming tables and almost 900 slot machines. 80 people have been added to the staff of more than 300. Beyond gaming, the casino now offers 2 restaurants, an outdoor patio and bars. The facility, which generates profit back into the city, is one part of a number of new entertainment properties in the eastern section of Old East Village. Casino officials say there is a plan to work together.
CTV News London has a newsletter helping you start your day with the latest local headlines. By signing up, you'll get local news content from CTV London direct to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewslondon.ca.
Finally tonight, it didn't go the way many soccer fans had hoped as Canada finished second in Group B of the FIFA World Cup, falling 2-1 to Switzerland. Andrew Johnson watched it all unfold.
For what we now know was the last time a sea of red and white marched toward BC Place Stadium to watch the home team play the biggest game in its history.
It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I was there, and it's, you know, you look back on it, you can't believe that you were there.
For a game that was already emotional well before kickoff, one injured Canadian Ismail Kone, who broke his leg against Qatar, was wheeled onto the pitch. In the first half, despite top-drawer chances on both sides, there was no scoring. But that changed quickly, less than a minute into the second, when Switzerland went ahead. And the Swiss added a second goal only 11 minutes later.
I'm obviously disappointed that we go down 2 goals. I didn't think the start to either half was good.
But Canada pushed back. Promise David sent the Vancouver fans into hysterics. Canada now so close to the draw they needed to win the group and stay at home.
The front, it's cleared away.
But close is where it would end. The Swiss held on, leaving fans disappointed but proud.
Boys put up a good fight.
God, it was incredible.
I think it showed that we can play with the big team.
Canada's biggest star, the injured Alphonso Davies, did not play, despite coach Jesse Marsh indicating yesterday he was ready to go, which the coach admitted after the match was a ruse.
And to be honest, Alphonso wasn't ready yet, so I was using him a little bit as a decoy. However, he will be ready next match.
That next match in the round of 32 will be Sunday, days earlier than Canada would have played in Vancouver had they tied or won today, but still what their head coach calls a massive opportunity to electrify the nation. They'll just be doing it from Los Angeles. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
That's our time tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm Lauren Stallone. Have a good night.